Shame is a silent and can be subtle destroyer of a man's path. That I see it as this entity that likes to live in the shadows, that wants to keep itself alive. And it knows if it was brought to light, if it knows if a man went into it and expressed it and moved through it, that would be the way that the light destroys it. Therefore, it stays in the shadows and tries to maneuver you away from expressing it out or integrating it or moving beyond it. And sex and shame seem to be so closely related for this reason. The shame lives in the darkness, and a lot of a man's sexual journey is behind closed doors. Men don't speak about these things, even though we know it's a prominent part of our life. That our use of our life force is one of our biggest obstacles, or even just room to play with, to grow, to activate that, and then use it to step onto our mission. But we've often taken a million side quests and felt the pain of it. But because it's not expressed, because it doesn't come to light, men will carry that in their closet, and the shame loves that. It lives there, it grows there, and subtly moves you away from expressing it. That the shame revolved around a man's sex life is disproportionate from what it actually is. I'll explain that. It's like every man's gone limp. Every man's ejaculated quickly. Every man's failed in the bedroom. Every man's jerked off to porn. Every man's been pulled around by his sexual energy. Many men have tried to cut it off. STIs and things. There's all of this which feels so enormous, yet most of us have experienced some or all of that through a life of experience. But we're treating it like it's not normal, or why me, or no one can see that part of me. That expressing that out is like, yeah, this is a part of this sexual journey that we're all on. We're in a sexual energy realm, and many of you have felt the bite of misuse. And sometimes, like if you did something really stupid and you knew it wasn't a line and you did something and you felt shame, that can be cool as a course correct. But this toxic shame that lives in men, that leads them onto false paths, is very detrimental. My 2-year journey on that was one of the toughest, weakest for sure. And the scary thing about having shame, you lose your voice and your decisiveness and your center, that it opens you up to the programming. It opens you up to the opinions and environments of others, which most people are programmed. And you can fall into these places that are not fully you. And there's a tendency for a dude within shame to fall into people pleaser, nice guy, go with the flow, do what everyone else is doing, rather from an embodied place of this is who I am, this is where I'm going. A lot of that can lead into spiritual bypassing, which is what I did. Yoga, meditation, it was all well and good for giving me peace, for getting my nervous system back on track, for being able to actually have peace within the mind, because dudes can become hyper-focused there. But it wasn't getting to the root of it. It wasn't getting to the root of it. And what I see for dudes who carry shame, especially when it's the sexual energy one, because semen retention is epic. I'm whatever, nearly 3 months, but don't count, it's weird. But I can see shame in people when they'll shame others. That unconsciously or consciously, there's like, oh yeah, I'd never do that. I'd never sleep with anyone. Like I'm so far beyond that. And if you are, that's fantastic. But if you are beyond it, you probably wouldn't feel the need to say that. You understand that this life is tricky and nuanced, and there's no direct answer to this sexual energy use. Our masculine mind wants it. Our masculine mind wants this perfect routine, perfect schedule, perfect completion of the use of sexual energy. Like, oh yeah, I just don't touch my dick, I don't jerk off, I'll wait for my woman in marriage, and my sexual energy just flows into my work and my purpose and my body. If you're at that place, well done. But it's like, I don't see a completion of it. I see this is just life, and it's just energy use. Am I using my energy wisely? I am highly life forced. This is a beautiful gift, as are many of you. But the shame of what has played out in the past, and then often the stories that perpetuate it, and then you moving away from what you actually want because you don't want to be seen with all of those shadows, is extremely detrimental. One of the best ways is expressing, but you only want to express to those who are able to hold that. Because when I was moving out of it, I remember that the brokenness that you feel, like you feel broken. There's a part of you that's not right. And it's, oh no. And the expression started the healing, but then I was over blurting. You know, I remember there was a woman interested in me. She was great. And I'm like, yeah, but she can't be interested in me. She doesn't know this. You know, because it's on the forefront of a guy's mind. And the running away, I did that too. There can be an all right little reset there, but it's integration. We're here to integrate it, to embody it, to love it. And if I talk to men about their sexual nature and I say, have you worked specifically with your sexuality? Many men will go, yeah, like I've done semen retention. But there's other things you can do there. And they can be transformative like so quick. I worked with a 50-year-old dude, hadn't had real erections in 10 years. Bush. Guy who's only had sex with Viagra. Bush. A guy who thought he can't get it up anymore. It can come back on quick with your intention and your sensitivity. Because most of you guys who watch this are already very energetically attuned. That the pendulum swings between getting pulled by it and suppressing it, as I had a comment the other day which sort of led me to make this video, is that he could feel that running away from it, it was creeping out in different ways. It's like energy can't be destroyed, it has to be transmuted, and there's going to be different flavors. There's going to be stages, there's going to be waves, and there isn't this perfect completion or I've completely mastered and transcended all sexuality and now I am just light and God. You know, we're on this earth, and many of you have taken the adventurous path as we live as the first generation with unlimited porn in our pockets. So to go from all of that to never touching any of it, anything in any way again, there's probably going to be some shame and things evolved in running away. And that suppression of energy can leak out in different maneuvers. It's like it happened for me, and I was lucky enough that I was free before it. That when I was on my false path doing all this spiritual stuff, I was like, I know it's not it, but I don't want to go back into that wound. I don't want to, maybe if I get enough, maybe I'll enlighten through it. But it wasn't true. I had to go back to it. I had to look at it. I had to embrace this part of me and go, yeah, I am a wild man. I'm a wild man. And I've made mistakes, but the mistake didn't require a run away from. These mistakes become refinement. This ability for you to embrace it and go with it and have your free will, make decisions, and not flip on yourself when you're making a mistake. Because as I said, shame, doing something really stupid, shame pops in, oh yeah, cool, I can feel I shouldn't have done that. Okay, thanks. That's how quick it could be. And we try to take new right action. But the toxic shame that perpetuates, that leads into worse behavior patterns happening. Like a dude in the crux of porn addiction feels a heap of shame, and it's the shame that leads him there, and it's the shame that is probably wanting him to push where he watches porn. Spoken to many guys who fall into trans stuff. No, I don't even know why I want to do it. I'm not even into that. The shame is like perpetuating and wanting you to push edges and go further, just to feel that and have that little release. And it's quite scary, that entity. Understand that this shame of the sexual component is extremely common in all men. Not all, like, yeah, I'm not saying all men have experienced it to your degree, but it's real, and it can be transmuted, and it can be moved through, and it can become your gift. Overcoming your rock bottoms. This is where you build your character. You're like, oh, I've died psychologically before. Why would I worry if I talk to a girl or take that opportunity or risk this or move somewhere? You've done some things and you've seen some stuff, and you're gaining the wisdom from a life well lived. I was reading Carl Jung last night, and he's like, live more life. That's the way to move to the divine. So if you've signed up for that interesting, adventurous life, these lessons are inevitable. And now it's time to integrate them. We can't run away from this. And why would we want to? Because our sexual life force is awesome. And when you can step into that and love that, and nurture that, it can become a thing. Because for me, that chapter, I knew there was something there for me, because I've been looking into astrology and myth a lot lately, and Chiron, the wounded healer, is prominent in my stars and the journey. And I don't like the word wound, and I don't like the word healer, but that is a part of my role, is the voice, the authenticity, and this sexual energy component, helping dudes embody that and to become then and express themselves in their fullest. That's the way out of shame, to be seen fully in the light for all of you, your wounds, your scars. No good man comes out of this like, yeah, I just had this breezy life. We don't like those stories. We need to die. We need to have these ups and downs, these overcomes, this embrace of the full journey that leads us to that. And yeah, that is a component that I serve. And if you're looking to transform that, it can happen very quickly. Especially if you haven't worked specifically at building a relationship with this most powerful, potent part of yourself. This opens your voice. This is our penetration. This gives us the courage and gusto to take risks. When you're in shame, you will not take risks. You will stay safe. Because they could expose you. They could expose the dark, deep shadows that we're running away from, which, as I said, are disproportionate to what they actually are. It was the hardest chapter. And I'm sure, yeah, if you're in that, it sucks. But there is a way out, and it's not the spiritual bypass. It's not the spiritual bypass, taking the false path further away, but always feeling that rock under your pillow. It is that healing of the lower kingdom and having the remedy there that can allow us to open up, to be grounded in who we are, to take on life. Community starting next week. I'm going to say Friday, just to put myself in a count. Excited for that. But if you want to work specifically with that sexual component, hit me up as well. It doesn't need to be as taboo as the world makes it. And it's funny that the world is so over-sexualized in a way. Because even with dudes on semen retention, I can see they're projecting shame at others. Like, I'd never do that. That's not me. Oh, I've transcended. If you have, you probably wouldn't throw shade. The more that quote about the more you know, the less you know. Very humbling, continually. Whenever I think I've got things sorted out, that's when there'll be a huge lesson. When I'm in this space of understanding the nuance of the universe, understanding that there is no perfect, I've figured this out, oh, I've blah, blah, blah. It's not real. Everything is nuanced. And there'll be stages and waves for you integrating that in your shade, from your frame, from your choice, from your decision. Not, I have to run away from this because I don't know how to use it. Beautiful for a reset. Can you trust yourself with your power? God bless.